Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is LaQueen Battle here, coming live from downtown from Boston, Cambridge, Massachusetts. How are you guys doing? I'm doing a couple more book releases today, like I did before, talking about again some books that I do, some reports, as well as some personal statements that I do have available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. I'm in the process right now working some things out here in Cambridge, as well as to trying to um, speak into an empty house today. So it's kind of a little bit difficult when you're speaking to an empty house, but you pretty much have to deal with what you have to deal with. So anyway, I did release a book out on Amazon called "Oh Mighty Man of God," a personal statement regarding to the ministry of TD Jakes. And as you all know, um, I'm a medical assistant. I also was a community health advocate. Also, I was involved in doing first aid during the pandemic and various big, large events on the campaign trail with President Biden and Trump. And I'm also a former Army Reserves veteran. Did currently serve in the United States Army Reserves, but I did serve in the United States military, but I do not have any benefits at all because of my service, my unexpected service. So, anyway, that is kind of what I am going through. So, I do not mean to have any grievance or issues or problems with anybody or anybody's ministry. Again, I do not mean to have any grievance or cause or issue with anyone or anyone's ministry at all, especially in the Christian church. So, um, again, I'm going to really introduce myself. My name is LaQueen Battle. I was a former member of the Potter's House of Dallas, Texas, in South Dallas. I was a member there for about 1 or 2 years. I knew a whole bunch of ministers that were at the Potter's House that have since departed. I knew I was involved in youth ministry. I was involved in the singles ministry, as well as the Brick House ministry, young adults ministry. I knew some of the pastors that were there too, as well. That have since left. And being a part, it was a great Bishop T.D. Jakes is a wonderful minister. I'm not going to put that into disregard his ability to speak to the masses. Okay, I'm not going to take that away from him, but at the same time, I still want to address the fact that I do have a couple issues with his daughter, Sarah Jakes Roberts, as well as some other issues. She did come to Southside Chicago in my neighborhood in Roseland, and that is where she started her ministry, her mega ministry called Women Involved. And that was one of her first conferences was in Roseland, um, Illinois, and Southside Chicago. So um, after that, there was it was a kind of a political year in Southside Chicago. Mayoral elections were going on. Um, they were doing redistricting in the city. Uh, the Chicago School District was going through a whole bunch of issues. Black Lives Matter protests were all over the city in Southside Chicago. And on top of that, Roseland, which is a very low income community, very low. It's a black community, but still, it's a community which needs a lot more funding to it. Tax dollars need to be sent to Roseland. And there was a fire, 4 or 5 alarm explosion that blew up a building, building facility, about a 10-story building in my neighborhood, about 5 blocks where I was living. And it was a couple months or a couple weeks after she had her ministry there. So, and she's also said some statements on YouTube about me. So I'm not going to disregard the fatherhead of TD Jakes' ministry apart from his daughter. His daughter, he has a couple daughters. He has a daughter, Cora Jakes Roberts, too. She has amazing ministry, as well as his sons, which are not in the ministry, but um, they've also had a couple other things too as well. So I do not want to um, take away the fact that he is a wonderful man of God, but at the same time, you have to separate um, the personal life of the minister from the professional life of him being one of the figureheads in the Christian church right now. Bishop T.D. Jakes is one of the leaders of the Southern Gospel Leadership Conference right now. And he's one of the leaders in the conference, which is one of the big top 10, 20 ministers in the Christian church, not just in the South, in Texas, Alabama, Atlanta, Florida, California, but he's one of the most known all around the world. Presidents know him. President Obama, President Clinton, the Bushes know him. He's been prayer. He's been a pastoral minister over presidents. He's been a pastoral minister over leaders and celebrities all over the world. I do not want to take that away. But at the same time, I want to also reflect that I'm no longer a part of his ministry. And I do have grievances about that. So I may or may not have family members that still attend the Potter's House of Dallas, Texas. At the same time, though, it is a big, um, uh, big involvement in that ministry, and what he has to include um, about that as well. So um, he's a wonderful man of God, wonderful, great minister. I'm not going to take that away. And there's been plenty of books wrote about him, plenty of books. At the same time as being a former member of his church, going from seeing his church evolve through years and years, seeing his church go from the small sanctuary into bigger, evolving into a worldwide ministry. Okay, seeing his church evolve throughout the years, I was a part of that part, and seeing so many ministers coming in and out of his church. Juanita Bynum, Paula White, Joyce Meyer, um, Creflo Dollar, so many ministers come in and out of his church. And now, because of the pandemic, the COVID pandemic has turned the face of the Black church, um, changed the face of the Black church. And so um, it has pretty much closed down a lot of churches that have been in existence for years and years and years because of this pandemic. Okay, as well as ministers, we've lost ministers. Juanita Bynum's mother has since passed due to the virus. As well as Joyce Meyer had a couple of employees in her ministry that passed away because of the COVID pandemic. So the pandemic over 2, 3, 4 years, this worldwide pandemic that has um, taken the lives of over 3 and 4 million people all around the world has also changed the face of the Black church. And not many people talk about it, but the issue still needs to be addressed. How it has changed the face. And now going into February, March of 2022, okay, um, now the church is slowly reopening back up to its full capacity. Members are now going away from Zoom meetings and having virtual meetings, and now members are slowly, very slowly, coming back into the sanctuaries at about 50 to 60, maybe 75% capacity, but still the Black church is not at its full capacity because of this pandemic. It's also changed away a lot of funding. It's changed tax funding. It's changed how churches have been able to survive without assistance from the government due to issues with inflation, due to issues with unemployment assistance, due to issues with a lot of members and congregants are not even being able to put basic food on the table. And so you have a lot of these charities that evolve from churches, a lot of food pantries, bill utility assistance, rental assistance, immigration assistance that evolve from the church that have not closed doors because of this pandemic. And so you have a lot of churches out there. Um, Catholic Charities, for example. Catholic Charities is a major universal ministry, universal organization. And so far, a lot of offices that evolved from Catholic Charities right now uh, are still have been closed down, not just because of the pandemic, but per se because of lack of funding from federal government, as well as involvement from the community and input and output. And so as I know, I was a part of. I've been involved with many offices and Catholic charities in Gary, in Texas, and Chicago. I've received assistance from them, and so that's pretty much has been involved, as well as okay, because Bishop T.D. Jakes is a part of the Christian leadership, the SCL, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Southern Baptist Bible Convention. He's a part of the Southern Baptist Bible Convention. At the same time, though, you have other people of other faiths, Catholic faiths, um, um, other religions out there that still are not able. I know I'm speaking to myself. Hopefully, I'll get a couple of views in a little bit. That are right now slowly trying to barely being able to make ends meet, okay, because of this pandemic. So Bishop T.D. Jakes is still a mighty man of God, but at the same time, he has a lot of things left to do with pushing forward his ministry because one man cannot do it by himself. Okay, one man cannot do it by himself, and so he has to eventually hand over the helms and the realms of his ministry over to not his sons, because his sons are not able to carry on that load. Is now he's able to carry on the load of his ministry onto his daughters, and eventually he has great ministers that have been a part of. We have Stephen Furtick. Stephen Furtick is also a great minister that has been a part of T.D. Jakes' ministry too as well. So eventually, within the next 10 years, uh, Bishop T.D. Jakes and the Southern Baptist Bible Convention, and as well as all these big ministers, Creflo Dollar, Ricky Rush, um, Bishop Noel Jones, um, even even you can go all the way into um, um, all the TBN, even Trinity Broadcasting Network. A lot of these ministers that have been a part of the Christian faith right now are not able to carry on that load and pass on the threshold of their ministry over to other people too as well. Okay, over to maybe not even their families, but over to people who want to take over the realms of that ministry. And most of the time, like if for me in my personal experience, I'm offline. But for me, in my personal example, what happened to my church in Fort Worth, Texas, was that my church in Fort Worth, Texas, was taken over by a completely new ministry. A new family took over my church, which had been in existence for 50, 60 years, 60s, 60s, and the 70s. And the pastors were getting older, Pastor Bob and Joy Nichols, and they took over the church. Okay, so that is a little bit what is involved in it. So, it it can be political, but at the same time, is Bishop T.D. Jakes has a realm about him. He's one of the biggest leaders known in the Black church, and like I said before, I made a brief report saying I'm no longer part of his ministry, but I wanted to get into it a little bit deeper. So and this is in regards to the book. Okay, it's called Almighty Man of God, reflecting on the ministry of Bishop T.D. Jakes. Okay, I still have a lot to do and to acknowledge him about. He is still a powerful man of God. I'm not going to take that away. He still is a powerful man of God. I'm not going to take it away. At the same time, is you have to reflect that one man, okay, one man, one bishop cannot do it all by himself. Okay, not just the church, not just the Black church, not just the government, but one man cannot do it all by himself. Okay, one man cannot do it. Not even one pastor, one leader, one minister cannot control. Not even Joyce Meyer, not even Paula White, not even um, these ministers cannot do it all by themselves. Okay. All right. So this is a Queen Battle. I'll probably do another book in regards to another show report in regards to Bishop T.D. Jakes. I just wanted to get that out there. Okay. Like I said before, it's a brief statement saying I'm no longer a member of the Potter's House of Dallas, Texas. At the same time, though, reflecting on his life and his legacy. Like I said before, he is one of the best leaders. Has been a powerful, mighty man of God. But at the same time, though, one man cannot do it all by himself, and that is the issues that the Black church, especially the Black church, is going through right now, is having to pass over leadership, the change of the church leaderships over to somebody completely different. Not just their family. A lot of these family members, the kids, these pastor kids, PKs, are not able to handle over the the responsibility that their parents have carried for them. Okay. All right. So Marilyn Hickey, Joyce Meyer. Marilyn Hickey has her daughter, who's also involved in the ministry too, as well, that is able to take hold of her mother's ministry too, as well. Joyce Meyer, unfortunately, Joyce Meyer is pretty much still getting older, but she's also been very strong in the faith too, as well. So, again, like I said before, he's just one minister, one man cannot do it all by himself. Okay, one man cannot do it all by himself. All right. So this is LaQueen Battle First Aid Responder Services. I wrote a short statement regarding the ministry of T.D. Jakes, saying, "Oh, mighty man of God." Person sent me regarding the Potter's House. I did not mean to offend anybody, but it's just one of the reports I'm going to write about him. I will continue to write more reports about Bishop T.D. Jakes and the ministry of the South. Okay. All right. So this is LaQueen Battle. Please continue to keep me in your thoughts and prayers. God bless you always, guys. Take care. Bye.